I think we can all agree that season 2 is probably the weakest season of Stranger Things so far. But with that being said, here are my thoughts on it. I feel that it just was all over the place on its own as a season, because it honestly just was a setup, or just filler for future seasons. You have the introduction of Murray, who helps Jonathan and Nancy expose the conspiracy and everything that's going on in Hawkins' lab. You have, the introduction and end of Bob, newbie superhero, which kind of annoys me because I feel like he could have survived, but for the plot, they had to write him off the show. You have the entire storyline of 11 out in the woods. Then she finds her sister, which just kind of serves to tell the audience that, oh yeah, there's more experiments that survived the Hawkins laboratory and this and that. 11 was only the 11th experiment. Then you have the entire storyline of Will and the mind flare, and then it escapes him, and you're like, oh no, what's gonna happen to the giant dust cloud that escaped Will? That has to get touched on in the next season. You have the introduction of Max and her brother, who will be more relevant in future seasons. So just overall a setup for the next season. But you cannot ignore setup in TV shows and movies, or and TV shows, movies. I already said that, but I had to repeat myself, because that's kind of where you the audience starts to form the bond with these characters. Because any character growth that should happen, it should happen in the main story, but the filler is where you go on these adventures with these characters, and you develop these emotional bonds with them. Like, we got to see the rise in the very beginning of Steve the babysitter, which is awesome in this season, and that's where all of that comes from, and you just can't ignore that. So overall, pretty decent, solid season for Stranger Things.